What up guys, this is Monkey Figure Reviews, and today I'm very excited to review this figure. It is by BANPRESTO / Bandai Spirits. It is the One Piece Grandista Nero Monkey D. Luffy. Now I gotta admit, it has been a while since I felt this level of excitement. But anyway, I'm still going to temper my expectations just in case anything goes wrong. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the box. It seems like for Grandista Nero, the general color scheme is black. I'm not sure if this is consistent with the Dragon Ball Neros or the Naruto Neros. I think they came out Neros for those series, right? And yeah, but it's black than your usual white. But everything else seems like it's the same. And right in front you can see one of the faces. You can put Luffy in, of course, BANPRESTO, Bandai Spirits, and some of the series names and other stuff. This is the side, another configuration of the face and the arm. And yep, over here you can see the straw hat clearer, and you can also see the other options here. 3 sets in total. And of course, even though they put it like this, I'm pretty sure you can just mix and match anyhow or any way you want. Yeah, so this is the Starry Eyes Luffy with the drooling mouth and the beer jug in hand. Now this is the white Toei sticker to prove its authenticity. So I think this is an overseas limited release or something. So I don't think you can find one with a golden Toei sticker, which means it's released in Japan. So it should be all in white. Okay guys, are you ready? Are you excited? I'm ready. Let's get unboxing. Well, it looks like it's pretty packed. There's a lot of things inside. And okay, let me just remove this whole thing. Seems like they sort of like tape it. So I gotta cut it out. But let's take this thing out first. Oops. A lot of things. There's even a note somewhere here, but we will see. Let me cut this thing out. Okay, so here we have all the faces and the head, and here we have the upper and lower half of the body, as well as the supporting stand. And here we have all the arms. I think that's 3 in total. It's all packed here. Wow guys, wow, that was so much fun. I really enjoyed the unboxing, and it has been a long time any figure made me felt this way. So really it was just, you know, so much fun just slowly unpacking, taking out piece by piece. And there are so many pieces, as you can see. Usually figures is just maybe 2 to 3 pieces, and maybe you get it over and done with in a really short time. But wow, this was so much fun. And well, let's count the pieces. I haven't even counted pieces. So there's a total of 10 pieces. Yeah, 10 pieces. There's the upper half, the lower half, the supporting stand, white supporting stand, which I don't think it's necessary. And we have the 3 arms over here at the top, the hair sculpt, and the 3 faces. I gotta say too, another thing is their packing. It's actually really well done for so many pieces. It's very stable, packed, concise, and I would say thoughtful in a sense, so that, you know, the figures are all really well protected. Kudos to them for that. Another thing is they actually left a note too. I think this is the first time they added a note. I'm not sure, maybe they do that for all Neros, but at least for the English one it says, please store in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight and high humidity. By the way, you should do that for all your figures. Away from sunlight. Alright, and yeah, it actually comes in Japanese, English, Korean, and Chinese. Okay. Let us start with the standard configuration first, so we have an idea of how the figure looks like. And just put the upper and the lower half together. It's a bit tight. And over here, there's a little pack and a hole for the left hand to be pushed in. So, there you go. And as you can see, it stands perfectly fine on its own. And for the head sculpt, what you gotta do is that the hair itself actually comes in two pieces. It splits apart in the middle. Take it apart and put on the face. Make sure you push it in tight. And put the front piece of the hair back on. And the head sculpt is complete. Now let's put it onto the head. Right, last but not least, the left arm holding the straw hat. Let's just push it in. Everything's a bit tight because it's new. Okay, so there you go, guys. This is the Grandista Nero Luffy, first configuration of him holding the straw hat. So what I'm gonna do now is that we're just gonna look at the details on the body sculpt first before I show you guys the other options and how they look like. Looking at the face sculpt, I gotta say that this is actually pretty well done. And you can see the painting of the eyebrows, the eyes, all really nice and clean. The mouth is actually done properly this time, which I'm really surprised because usually they just, for some reason, they always screw it up. But this is actually really crisp and clean. The skull over here as well, and the ears are actually really good. I gotta say though, something just tells me that it doesn't really look like Luffy 100%. I think it's the eyes, because I think if I cover the mouth like this, his eyes look a little bit lifeless or soulless, and maybe just a little bit too big. Maybe just a little bit too big. I have another complaint, and that is the forehead. I think from this angle it seems just a little bit too wide too, especially from this top down angle, which most likely will be how you will see it in real life. Just a little bit. I'm not sure if this is the same for the other faces, but we will see later. But of course, from this camera angle, it looks actually okay. Right, so for the hair sculpt, I think it is actually really well done. As you can see, it's very clean too. No rough edges. The joint, the line, it's actually okay. No shading as far as I can tell. But usually for Grandistas, I don't think they shade the hair too much, for One Piece at least. So it's a very nice, clean sculpt for the hair. For the body sculpt, I think generally it is the same as the normal Grandista Luffy. Maybe some color changes, but I can't tell for now, so later I'll take it out and we can do some comparison. But I think you can see for yourself, the body sculpt is actually all pretty well done. This is the muscles with the scar on it, and this is the shirt he's wearing with shading, so some parts are a little bit darker around the creases. Buttons are painted yellow, a bright yellow, and you can see the creases done are all actually pretty good. Same as the previous Grandista. More shading over here. I'm not sure if the previous Grandista there's shading, but we will see. But the shading here is actually pretty obvious. Darker areas here, here, and here. I think all these things you can see for yourself. Sidetracking a bit, I saw a video where someone's Nero Luffy, the scar was like shifted to the right, quite obviously. And I was thinking, man, like how did they let that piece got out as a product? And I was hoping that mine didn't have any issue, and I'm glad that it's okay. It's sad because I think the guy who reviewed the Nero Luffy didn't even realize that the scar has a problem. But when I saw it, I knew immediately. I was like, yo, that scar is messed up. But just something that I want to mention, because there may be some QC issues with this Grandista Nero Luffy, so you gotta be a little bit careful and watch out. Okay, and for the for the arm itself, essentially he's just holding the straw hat. And the straw hat looks pretty okay, pretty decent. Mine is a little bit bent at this corner for from the packaging, but looks like the details are pretty normal, not hyper realistic, pretty standard, and should be rather similar to the straw hat we got for the first Grandista Luffy. You can see the scars over here as well, and there you go. This is the hand, in case you're interested. Not much painting for the fingernails, it's a really pretty basic sculpt. I think for the other hand too, pretty normal. For the pants, you can see not as much shading, and I think this is darker than the other Grandista Luffy, if I recall correctly. So not a lot of shading, just some white colors towards the top creases. I think the creases are generally very well done. And this is the yellow sash. There's actually shading for the yellow sash, but I'm not sure if you can tell. A little bit darker towards the bottom here, and I think it's more obvious towards this end. This is not my lighting. This is not the natural shadowing. Of course, a little bit, but the darker colors you see here are actually because of the shading. And the back, the butt looks like Luffy has a nicer butt this time. I'm not sure. And the bottom here is just this white color thing of his pants. Also shading towards the bottom part a little bit, as you can see, and looks like you can't really see much into upper pants. But the legs actually looks pretty skinny, I gotta say. Almost no muscles at all for Luffy. Little bit of a calf muscle, but damn, looks like bones. I didn't actually realize that. It's probably the same as the previous Grandista, but damn, those are really skinny. And those are the sandals he wears. The colors are actually really pretty nice and, you know, very distinct. This is, I think, black in color. The feet, the toes are, I think they try to add some detail, some lines around the toes, which is really well done. Really good job. And the bottom of the sandals, as usual, you get those details. I brought out my Grandista Luffy here so we can do some color comparison. And the first thing I noticed is that the shirt on the left here is darker than the one on the right. This is more, seems to me like a more of a bright red. And over here, I think because they enhanced the shading and the shadowing around the shirt, so it seems to be darker than the one on the right. Another thing is the buttons. The buttons here are smaller and it's something like a little dab of yellow, but over here is bigger and it's more orange in color. The color of here is closer to the sash. And for the body, it seems like there's more shadowing on the muscles here, just a little bit, and the scar colors are also different. This is darker and a little bit darker around the edges, while this is more consistent throughout the whole scar. The other thing is, of course, the sash. I do think that for this one over here, the shading, or rather the creases, are more obvious than the one over here. But towards the bottom here, the shading is darker than the one over here. So go figure it out that for yourself. And for the pants, this is another distinct change. I think that the color here is lighter. Of course, with all this extra white kind of white colors kind of shading they try to give, which I didn't really like because it just looks unfinished. I prefer the one over here. And the white color too at the bottom, this is a more cleaner, purer shade of white than this. This is more now like grey when I look at it side by side. I'm pretty sure you can see on the camera itself too. Another thing also is the sandals. The sandals itself, this is darker in color than the one on the left, and it also seems that there's just a little bit more darker shade towards the front of the toes than your knee roll. This is the back, and weirdly enough, I think the shadowing is less different at the back for some reason. It looks much more closer, just that you could still tell it's a little bit darker around certain areas like here, here and here. Of course, the pants color, lesser white around here, but generally the color changes are the same as the ones at the front. Now for the straw hats, I gotta say Generally, the sculpt is the same, but when you feel the two materials, this is a lot better. This is a much more solid material compared to this one. This is, when I press it, you can see it's much more bendable, but this one, applying the same force, it is more resistant, it is much more tough. So I guess this is made of a better material than this. But like I said, the sculpt is pretty much similar. Another thing is, of course, the colors. This is of a lighter brown, as you can see. And what it did over here is lighter brown towards the outside edges, and it gets darker towards the middle. But here it is more consistent throughout. Now this is the inside. Obviously, because you had to put this on the head, so you can't really see the inside of the scars. But here, sorry, I keep saying it's the scars, but it's the damage done by Buggy. I say in all my videos accidentally all the time. But here you can see the 3 lines inside of it. And there you go. This is the other configuration of Luffy with the starry eyes and the drooling mouth, and him holding a beer jug, which is, I think, is really cool, especially the face. So let's take a closer look. The face, it's really hilarious to me. It's very funny. And once again, I would say that the sculpt, the face sculpt, is very clean and crisp. So you don't really see any weird things going on. The star eyes are really well done, and it's sort of planted into the eye socket, so you can't see anything from the side. And yeah, the eyebrows, the mouth is well done, of course, with the drooling saliva dripping out too. Really amazing, and nothing I can complain about. Another thing is the mark. There you go. And the details actually looks really good. Like, I really can't complain anything about it. No shading, but it's totally fine. I think for Grandistas, it's kind of like their style. And you get a white kind of layer of foam at the top, very smooth to the touch, and it's sort of dripping over at the front here. So the mark itself is generally, this is like a black color and brown color, and the handle is something of a white, but maybe a little bit more grayish compared to the foam. Last but not least, this is the final configuration of Luffy enjoying and eating a piece of meat. I really love this a lot because to me it's just so much Luffy. This is like the embodiment of Luffy's personality, enjoying and just chilling, eating meat and stuff. It's really cool, and I think the face sculpt is well done. I love the smiling eyes. I think it is actually the same as the previous Grandista Luffy smiling face. Let me just bring it in. Yeah, it looks pretty much the same, and really amazing. So let's take a closer look. I really think this is really well done. Luffy just looks super cute here, and everything else is just, once again, the details are good, nothing to complain about. And you can actually feel this, what do you call this, like foot scraps on his face. It's actually part of a sculpt, and it's not just painted on as dots, so you can actually feel this 3 different tiny foot scraps. Really cute and well done. I really love this face. Could be my second favorite after the smiling face. This is the meat, and you can see this part on the inner side where he just chew off. It's kind of red and white in color, sort of like your standard cartoonish meat. And towards the other side, you get shading around the central part, a little bit darker, and the rest is just brown in color to show the meat. And the bone is actually really huge. It extends quite a distance, and generally white in color, and I don't think I see some shading on it. This is definitely one way you can display the 2 figures. It's really cute, guys. On one hand, you have Luffy smiling, eating meat, and on the other hand, you have Law just kind of, being really stern, eating his rice ball. It's really funny and cute. So really interesting how you can now play with a little bit of the dynamic, and this is just a suggestion. Some of you may be wondering if it's possible to swap the head sculpts? And the answer is yes. You're totally free to do so between the two Grandistas, as you can see. For the upper body, if you want to swap the upper bodies, I don't think it is that simple, unless you are okay with, because this this hand has a peg. So unless you're okay with it showing like this on this side, then maybe it's not possible, because they didn't come with a hole over here for this hand to go in. If not, you can just play around with the heads, and also the faces are purely interchangeable. Let me just show you guys. So for example, in this case, you can see I have him wearing the straw hat while eating the meat, and this upper hair sculpt is from the old Grandista, because if it's just the Nero, the hair sculpt is like this, and if you don't have him holding the hat, he's basically naked without it. But I think this is more like Luffy. He's seldom seen without the hat, so this is definitely an option in case you guys are wondering, because I've been seeing videos and I don't think anyone has showed him like this yet. But this is an option if you have both Grandistas. The height of this figure from the bottom to the top of the head, it's around 28 cm and around 11 inches. This is Nero Luffy with the rest of my Grandistas, and I gotta say, my old complaint about the head of Luffy being very big for the older Grandista is still relevant here, because his head is still relatively bigger than the rest of the head sculpts, as you can see over here. Yeah, but I think, just something I want to mention. It's not an issue, because I guess I've come to accept it. But I'm just thinking now, while looking at all these figures, there's so much potential for all their Neros. Like for Sanji, you can maybe have him holding a chef's knife, a chopper, or even a frying pan with the hard eyes. And Zoro also maybe with a smiling face and all that stuff. So lots of potential for the Neros, and I hope they do as good as a job as this Grandista Nero Luffy. This is the King of Artists Luffy, so you guys can do a little bit of height and scale comparison. I've said it multiple times before. I believe that when I look at it, I believe that they are of roughly the same scale. And over here, I have my big size Ichiban Kuji Zoro to the left, and on the right, I have my masterized extra Sabo, so you guys can see for yourself how the height compares. Alright guys, that's pretty much all I have to say for this figure, all the important stuff. I probably won't do a Do They Fit episode, because essentially this is the same in terms of scale and height to the old Grandista Luffy. So just refer to that episode if you need more information. And you may be wondering this question too: hey, Monkey Figure Reviews, will you be selling the old Grandista Luffy now that you have gotten the Nero? My answer is a resounding no, unless I really run out of space in my house. Then maybe I will consider selling it, because to me, the first Grandista, the smiling face is still amazing. To me, it is still one of the best faces of Luffy ever created, and I really love it. And when you have two Grandistas, you just have so much more options to play with and play around. 5 face sculpts, 2 hair sculpts, 3 arms. So it's more, I guess it's more complete and more fun to play with, and it's really amazing. And maybe you're also wondering, so should I get this? What's your recommendation on this Grandista Nero? My answer is yes. Just go and get it. If you have the money to spare. If you don't have the money, save it for something else. Save it for something more important. But if you have the money to spare, go get it. I think he is really amazing. It's so fun to play with all the parts, and the faces look great. The arms look, if the accessories on, look great. And of course, if you are also satisfied with your normal Grandista Luffy, I think that is fine too, because that smiling face is a treasure on its own, so it's fine to just keep that. Okay, so that's pretty much all I want to say, and took me quite a while to film this video, because half the time I have no idea what I'm saying. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you like it, do give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss out on new videos like this. Also, leave your comments below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Alright, you may have realized also I have a new logo that is done by an amazing friend of mine. I'm not sure if she wants the shout out yet, but it's a Jolly Roger, so I have a Jolly Roger now, guys. Monkey Figure Reviews Jolly Roger. Okay, I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much once again. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys very soon. Goodbye.